Joined by tonight's second place finisher of the Duck Commander 500, Dale Earnhardt Jr., driver of the number 88 Nationwide Chevrolet. This is his sixth top 5 finish at Texas Motor Speedway. Late charge there at the end, Dale. Just talk about your evening.
Where is everybody?
I think it's still running around.
Everybody went home. Well, we had a great car. You know, we didn't really know we had that good a car, but when the race started, we were real tight. We made some good adjustments to get the car handling well, and then really controlled the balance of the car the rest of the night with the track bar. And we had about a second or third place car. The 78 was very good. I didn't think we were ever good as he was. He just had such old tires there at the end. I was really surprised that they didn't hang on better than they did. But we got caught on pit road when the 30 wrecked and got the lucky dog. Very fortunate to get the lucky dog there. We were going to have to take a wave around either way. And kind of got back up there a little bit, and then we pitted for tires and lost a couple spots there, but just because some guys stayed out. And we got lucky at the end to be able to restart on the inside. The outside was kind of difficult, and we restarted fifth and were able to get up to third and race the 22 at the end. It was fun. I enjoyed driving the car tonight. The car was very loose and very challenging, but a lot of fun for me. Obviously, our car was good, so we passing guys. We had a lot of passing, you know, which with the 14 or 15 package, I'd have never got by Joey, so it was fun to have the opportunity to sort of set somebody up and get it by them there at the end. And that's due to the direction we went this year with the low downforce. So pretty cool. Kyle put it on him at the end. He ran as hard as he could, and his car was there for him. Sucks for Martin because he had such a great car, but Martin's just got to remember that he's going to get that opportunity again. They got a great team, so that's it.
We're also joined by tonight's fourth place finisher, Chase Elliott, driver the number 24 Napa Auto Parts Chevy. First career top 5 finish in his NASCAR Sprint Cup Series career. Chase, talk about your run, and just you obviously found something here at Texas Motor Speedway considering your success in the Xfinity Series.
That was a solid night. Obviously, I hate to have to start in the back, but I think having a good qualifying effort allowed us to get a good pit selection. I think that helped to try to gain spots throughout the night. But the biggest thing was just having a good car. It was I was really happy with it, especially on the long run. And we made some gains throughout the night to try to help our short run speed. I thought we did that. Definitely still have some work to do on my end, and we'll keep digging at it. And we're definitely not content. Well, we know we have some work to do, and we'd like to be contenders, so we're going to keep working at it.
Let's go open up for questions. We'll start with Drew over here.
Yeah, Dell, as a competitor, kind of what do you make of this run Kyle's on?
Well, I think it's how many races has he won? He wins a lot of races.
Last 4 races. Last 4 national touring races.
Yeah, 2 Cup races in a row. I mean, he wins a lot of them Xfinity races. If he's in the Xfinity race, he's got about a 90% chance of winning that. But he's won, when 08, he won 10 races. I mean, the guy's good. He's got a great team behind him, and they put themselves in position at the end to challenge Martin, and Martin couldn't hold him off. But I ain't surprised by any means, and we just got to work hard to try to get that opportunity. We had a pretty good car, and I think better than Kyle most of the night, but in the end he had that track position that we didn't have.
I believe we have a question from the press box.
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Dale, was all 400 cars in the top 10 tonight at Texas. How big of that was for the organization?
Great. I think the company as a whole is pushing real hard to improve, and there's a impression within the company that we need to grind a little bit and make some gains going forward into the middle of the season here. But I was really encouraged with my car tonight. Usually, we typically have a top 10 or a top 5 car, but tonight we had one of the best 2 or 3 cars, and you can't ask for anything better than that. That's going to get you opportunities to win races when you have a car that's one of the 3rd best cars or 2nd best cars in the field. And that's a lot to ask when it really comes down to it. There's so much competition out here to have that good of a car. So I was real encouraged by how we ran tonight, going forward with the mile-and-a-half stuff.
Let's come back down here.
Dominic Udagon, theracingexperts.com. Question for you both. In running last night's Xfinity race, how much did that help with your success tonight?
I don't really know that it did, to be honest with you. Cars are very different, other than just making laps on the racetrack and moving around and things, maybe finding a lane that might work later in the run. I think the cars are so different, it's hard to compare a lot, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think it really helps if the crew chiefs, take advantage of the opportunity to stick around, watch the race, and watch what they do with tire pressures and see what adjustments and listen to the driver. Like Chase said, as a driver, you learn certain lines. I learned some lines that I happened to use tonight that helped ran as well for me as they did the night before. Particularly entering turn 3, I entered a lot lower and chopped a corner a lot better, or a lot more, I guess, than most guys. A lot of guys were arcing, and I could just beat them way deep into the middle of the corner, and I was doing that last night. But so there's some things out on the track that you learn, but I kind of rely on Greg to try to take advantage of that opportunity to learn the air pressure and stuff, because that stuff kind of correlates. But yeah, the cars don't drive anything like each other.
Let's go come here to Holly, and then we'll go to Pete and then Joey.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Chase, I forgot to ask you out there, but how much discussion was there about having you come back in at the very end to pit? What went into that?
It was Alan's decision to come back, and it was a quick decision. You didn't have a lot of time. Then once the caution came out, I think pretty much the first time we came back, pit road was open. So, those crew chiefs are put in a position they got to make a call in a hurry, and they have all. They definitely have my respect, because I respect them for what they do, because that's tough spot to be in. But, as I've said, we're a team. I'm going to support his decision, right, wrong, or indifferent. So I was happy we did it, and we tried to make the most of it.
Come on front to Pete.
Pete Horonos, Race Talk Radio here in Dallas. For both of you guys, compared to the other tracks that you've run this year, how did you find the tire degradation here at Texas?
Go ahead, buddy.
Appreciate that. I would say probably not as much as Atlanta or Fontana. I would say this place is, to me, I haven't been racing here near as long as Dale, but I feel like Texas is becoming more and more like Atlanta the longer, or at least the past 2 or 3 times I've been coming here. So I think the longer we go, I think you'll see the racing improve as the racetrack wears out like it has at Atlanta. So to me, the surface and the tire wear and the change throughout a run is very similar to what I saw at Atlanta a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it is like Atlanta, but without as many bumps, and I think that creates a little bit more security for the driver, because we don't have to deal with so many bumps and stuff and challenges like the Atlanta has so many bumps. But if we could get every track like this, we'd want it that way as drivers. This is perfect. Atlanta, all that wore out stuff, and we really want to be able to chase these cars around, and just when they're stuck like glue and you just can hammer down, that's not any fun. So what we was doing tonight is really where we enjoy it.
Joey.
Joey Barnes, Tribute Racing. Question for you both, kind of along the lines of the tires. There's a new right side tire compound that we saw here in Texas. Did you enjoy that more than what you had at Atlanta, or would you prefer more of that tire compound at these mile-and-a-halves?
That's tough to say. I think I was happy that last year and the year before that, I don't remember what the weather did, but we had a lot of rubber on the track when the race started, but I unwound the right front tire in both those races in like 20 laps, and that just shouldn't happen. We do want the tire to wear out, and we do want the tire to slow down a lot. If we could get the more off throttle time we get, the better the drivers like it, because we can race. You can drive in the corner and try to outdrive somebody into the corner because they're lifting, and try to get in the gas way sooner than them. So that creates passing. But you don't want to be able. You want to be able to move up the racetrack, not worry about unwinding the tire or tearing the tire completely apart. So the tire tonight seemed to be a little more durable without being too hard, and it still wore, fell off, slowed down. The one thing we didn't see was the top groove really get great for anybody. A couple guys used it, but they seemed to fade real bad at the end of the run if they ran up there, like it wore their tires out more. Usually that top line's a lot more dominant, so that was disappointing, but I think that had a lot to do with the temperature. The cool temperature adds a little grip in the track, and that brings the groove down and makes that bottom groove a little more competitive. And I think that that's why we didn't really see a wide track, because it's so cool tonight. Running at night really brings the groove down, brings the grip into the track, and narrows up the track a little bit. But the tire was better. Sorry. Good.
No, go ahead. I mean, I think just times two, really. I mean, I have a hard time telling much of a difference of the compound from here to Atlanta. I mean, to me, the surface of the racetrack is going to take over the feel of the car, I think, more than tire compound does. And like Dale said, we want them to wear out, and obviously don't want them to fall apart. So, you know, if you can find, that's a tough task. You know, we always talk about that and wanting tires to fall off. We also understand that Goodyear's in a very tough box. The people at Goodyear, I've been to their factory and watched them put together the tires. They do a really good job, and they work really, really hard at it. It's not a lack of effort. So they are put in a fine box because we want tires to wear out, but we don't want them to fall apart. So at some point, they kind of have to let us pick: run hard, fall apart, or save your stuff and don't. So, you know, at some point, you know, like I said, they're in a tough box, but I think they do a good job with it.
Question up front, then we'll go to Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Start off with Bob, and then we'll go to
Where you been?
I've been out there talking to people. Bob Parker's ESPN. Dale, I mean, at the end there, Truex is kind of hung out to dry with the old tires. What's it like when, I mean, he's a friend of yours. You know he's had a dominant car, and you're passing him. I mean, do you feel any ounce of sorrow for him?
Oh,
at
yeah,
all?
I feel bad for him. You love to see your friends do good. He had a great car tonight, and I was hoping, you know, obviously if we couldn't win the race, that one of my teammates would, but also you're pulling for your buddies. So he had such a dominant car, but he's just got to remember that he's with such a good program now. He's in a very good position personally and professionally, and that he's got such a great crew chief and a great group of guys around him that he's going to get opportunities like this again. And, you know, he just has to not beat himself up or make it, you know, make it too hard on the guys. Just kind of bring you guys up and get them excited for the next race, and be excited about how fast your car was. You know, that's one of the things that's so hard to get in this sport is speed and be that competitive. It's so hard to do. You luck into good runs every once in a while, but to be dominant, it's really hard to do. So he should be real proud of that and just happy that his team's strong, and look forward to the rest of the year.
Well, Lisa, and then back to Holly.
Janine Cloud with Skirts and Scups. This is for Dale. At one point during the race, you were coming into pit, and Greg was going to just make an air adjustment, and you made a comment about, let me put this in perspective for you.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about that and about the communication you have with him now?
Yeah, you know, we sometimes we're not quite where we need to be on communication as far as, you know, if I tell him the car's loose, he's not quite, I guess maybe I need to be more descriptive in giving him understanding how loose the car is. Usually I got used to Steve just listening to my tone and knowing exactly what kind of adjustment to make. And so Greg, we were really, really loose. He was going to put a half a round wedge in the car and a half a pound in the right front, and I told him that I wanted to put it in perspective. The run before, I was 2 inches up on the track bar, and the last run I was 2 inches down, so I had a 4-inch swing in the track bar. That's a good percent and a half of wedge that he needs to put in the car so I can get the track bar back where I want it. And so we're just, you know, I got to be more descriptive to help him understand how loose or how tight the car is, instead of assuming that he's knowing what I'm thinking just by the tone of my voice, I guess. But we'll get there. You know, we just got to spend more time together. One of the things that me and Steve did was spend time away from the track, and I think that's what me and Greg need to push ourselves to do more of. And we'll get to know each other a lot better than what we're seeing at the racetrack. We don't really get to know each other at the track that much because we're working so hard.
Holly?
Holly Kane again, at NASCAR.com. And Junior, either one of you can answer this, but this was a great night for Hendrick, for your team, to have all 4 cars in the top 8. And maybe coming into the race, there was still a lot of talk about Toyota and for that team, and they were doing well. But could you just speak about having your team do so well and have such a solid night? Either one of you.
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I definitely think it was a solid night. It's not a perfect night. We would love to turn all 4 cars in the top 10 to all 4 cars in the top 5, and I think that's a goal we have to shoot for. I think we have a team and people that are capable of doing that. So we want to keep working at it. I think, as I said before, we're for us, we're excited to run the top 5. We're also not content, and we want to be contenders. And running 5th isn't a contender. You gotta be up, up a little higher. So that's our goal, and we'll keep working at it.
Yeah, I was happy with our team. I was happy with my car. It was great to see Chase up there. I got to race with him a little bit, and his car was doing some great things, and he was driving a really good line. Our other guys, had maybe the 48 didn't run as well as he expected, but they'll get going. We're all in the same shop, so we lean on each other, and it'll get going.
Let's take one final question.
Dale McFadden, NBC Sports. Dale, yesterday Kyle Busch said that the Drivers' Council has met about 4 times so far this year. What have those proceedings been like this year compared to last year? What have the new members, Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski, what have they brought to the table?
Yeah, just new perspective. It's going really good, and we're getting better at understanding what our role is as a group, and we're trying to represent the rest of the field and all the other drivers as best we can, trying to make sure that the things that we're asking for or working with NASCAR on are things that everybody feels we need, and we are starting to strengthen our relationship with the RTA competition committee and understanding how we need to work with them to go forward over the next several years with the things that we want in the sport and changes that we think could be better. But it's about kind of knowing your role and exactly what your job is as a driver. And we started out so clunky, and it was not working and not doing very well last year. By the end of the season, we were a runaway train. It was awesome. We were getting so much accomplished, and we got some new guys, but they're good guys that know a lot and very smart. So it's awesome to have them all in there and pushing real hard, and everybody's wanting the same thing. We get you fired up about what direction the sport's going in. I think we've made a lot of great changes in the last 12 months, 24 months that. I'm not saying the council has a lot of credit for it, but a lot to do with it. But we definitely have an influence, and it's a great feeling.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.